Great to see you again, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. What show is this?
Dan Patrick Show.
Inside jokes.
I was thinking about this when you were coming in, of all the people you do impersonations of. And I'm thinking, I've never heard you do Vin Scully. And I would think Vin Scully with that delivery would be easy. But you don't do a Vin Scully?
I don't really do one. You could probably do a better one than me. I mean, Harry Shearer.
Yeah.
I've heard Harry Shearer do it, and it's very good. And all I would ever do is, it's a long fly ball deep into center field. I mean, that's all I can. I can't say any other words, so it's decent enough that you know who I'm doing, although it's not great. But baseball's very regional, right? Vin Scully's bigger than that. Harry Carey was bigger than that. But to work on somebody, even like a Vin Scully, for me, you go to Milwaukee, Chicago, they don't care. So you throw it out there, and it doesn't matter. They don't know, again, everybody knows Harry Carey, and I think part of people knowing Harry Carey is even Will Ferrell doing on Saturday Night Live, and he was kind of Will Ferrell. Hey! It wasn't even, holy cow, did you see the guy? I mean, it wasn't dead-on Harry Carey. It was a great, funny Will Ferrell bit, So... yeah, baseball. That's on baseball. That was Al Michaels doing a baseball. It's unbelievable. I saw the book in the background, Dan. That's one of the best I've ever written. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. So yeah, baseball.
That's good.
Baseball. I know. Baseball.
You're Vin Scully, not good.
No, it's not. And I admit, see, that's the thing is, I hear a lot of people.
But is it that he's not somebody you can put into your performance?
I think,
or is he hard to capture?
I don't know. I don't know, because a lot of people I don't like. It's like singers. I never worked on singers because the only thing you could really do with a singing voice is rhyme it at the end of every verse. That's what the joke was going to be, So I went a different. I like to capture what the person is, and what's with Madden you get the look on your face, or I get the look on my face like if he's just ate an entire lemon, and it just kind of starts to feel. Gruden's like he's looking through you, man. I see you, Dan. I know what you're thinking.
I was wondering.
You're working with Tirico now, aren't you, man?
Yeah,
it's a tremendous job.
Yeah,
you could do like 50 sports in one day, man.
Yep.
So good. He walked in one time. Gruden walked in the Monday Night Football pre-production meeting. I got to go to it. And Gruden, he just rips. I mean, in a funny way, he's the guy who holds court. So anybody who's never been around, he's the funny guy. But it's like everybody's also scared of him at the same time. So he's like, hey, Tirico, nice of you to join us, man. Did you finish calling a golf match, doing a couple NBA Finals games, then decide to show up for Monday Night Football? Good for you, Mike. Got any money on you?
Is he in on the joke?
Yes, I think he is.
I think now he's in on the joke, or has he been in on the joke the whole time?
From what I think he just does. I mean, I think it's just him. I think it's him to start with. But, like when I met him first.
Because Bradshaw was not always in on the joke.
Yeah, Bradshaw thought of stuff as it's wrestling. I mean, that's the way they got him through with Kimmel. It's professional wrestling. That's what they'd always tell him. Because especially the athletes and former athletes, they're used to being on a pedestal their entire lives, right? They're up there, and when you can make fun of other athletes if you're the same level as that person. If you've played the game, you're in the locker room, you can mess with each other. You're me, 5'6", this chubby kid coming in, cherubic, isn't like to call myself. A little less cherubic lately. You come in and who's this guy? This guy doesn't have a right to make fun of me. Mm-hmm. So, but when Kimmel was and people don't even remember that Jimmy did this, but he was the original NFL on Fox guy, and he would take those guys apart and rip them to shreds. And then I came in and it was sillier, and doing the characters doing it. But there's it's like wrestling, right? Like I'm Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, and you're one of those bad guy wrestlers. Give me a bad guy wrestler. I can pretend you are, So that was, to me, they start to get that. For the longest time, I don't think Madden got it. And I told you the story about me meeting Madden. It's like, I get it now. When you're with the person, it makes sense. And Gruden, when I met Gruden, he's like, my kids love you, man. I'm like, how about you? My kids love you, man.
But who doesn't get it or doesn't care to get it? But it doesn't stop you from still.
No, I think everybody starts to turn, because people think it's going to hurt their business. They think it's going to hurt what they do.
Because Stephen A. Smith just wants you to talk about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I'd be
the
incredulous if I
publicity.
didn't think so. You know, I understand where you're coming from, that Mr. Caliendo, and make it perfectly clear that you're utterly and completely quadrilaterally deficient in every category. And I have no idea why I'm so angry today. You know, the guys like that.
Is quadrilaterally a word?
It is in
It
mathematics.
is. Oh, okay.
Quadrilateral.
Okay,
Every
good.
time I hear him do that, I'm like, quadrilateral? How do you argue with him? Trigonometrically speaking, you got to take the sine of the cosine and understand what's going on here is utter and complete symmetry. Think about that, Mr. Caliendo. Every time he talks, I feel like I'm failing an SAT test. What, I only got 400 on that segment? How can that be? So,
But Chris Berman came around to it.
yeah. I mean, a lot of guys, it seems it's just Morse code. That's my bit on stage now.
Dash.
That was SOS. It turns into jazz scat if it gets really good. We'll be back after this.
But Berman without words is better.
I like it, because it's the character part of people. To me, Madden got to be more fun when I wasn't even doing Madden anymore. I was just doing. When you have the moments in between, that's what makes the character. And for Berman, it's you know what they. And I've talked to him. He's like, you just keep talking. That's the way. And if you keep talking, it's just fine. You'll find the words that you want to use, and we know.
How important are the mannerisms, the expressions?
Hugely, because a lot of times I don't do the impression dead on, right?
But if I just heard your voice, so somebody on radio listening now, if you're not doing the facial of John
Gruden, I think you know who it is. Gruden's one of those guys.
but even now you're doing the facial.
But better. It's better, man.
Oh, it is.
I'll
When
tell
you
you
give
what,
me the
when you do
face.
that face, man, that's
But-
the Chucky face. You know
but
what they
you
call
get-
that, Chucky?
You get the eyebrows.
Yeah, it's tremendous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, people laughing all over. They're not even in the studio.
No,
man.
they're not. They're
Yeah,
not.
but that's what makes it fun to me. That it is the encompassing like the whole person, because that's what it's about. Like people always do, what cartoon characters do you do? I'm like, I don't really do any, because you don't see, a cartoon character doesn't have like a real person's mannerisms. I like to find those little things that the person does. A cartoon character, it's drawn to have mannerisms, right? You animate to make that happen. A human being doesn't do that stuff on purpose.
What about Trump? He's got certain
Well, it's
mannerisms.
pretty easy. It's tremendous. It really is. When you think about, and right now I want to say this, and Todd Fritzy, I want you to understand, wherever you are back there, I see you. You're not that thin now. Let me say this. This is going to be the #1 rated show Dan has ever done, and it's going to get even better. The longer that I'm on, the more your audience is going to grow, and it's good. By the end of this, you're going to have tremendous ratings. You really are.
Have you done that for Trump?
Yeah, I did a sketch with him at Fox years ago. There's some great stories with it, because I don't know what he's like now.
Well, let me
okay?
take a break.
Okay,
We'll come back and you can give me your behind the scenes with.
It's a tremendous take, and
I'm
after
sure
the
it
break,
is.
that's a great tease because it's only going to get better.
and I want to know what you're like at Thanksgiving or something.
No, you don't.
Yeah, because I get the feeling
I'm nothing like
you're
that.
not very
I'm the
excited.
worst.
Yeah,
I'm terrible.
yeah. So we'll continue with Frank Caliendo. What are comedians like at holiday time?
I'm the
At
worst.
home.
I mean, I don't know I can't speak for every comedian, because most of the time I won't spend any time around comedians. It's like, I've heard there was a joke a radio guy did, who said a lunch with one comedian's funny. A lunch with 2 or 3 comedians, it gets exponentially worse, because they all start trying to one up each other. That's like old school kind of comics. I mean, I don't know. I doubt Louis C.K., who I consider to be one of those amazing guys who can just talk and be funny. I doubt he's trying to be funny there. He's just trying to be himself, and probably thinking and processing. He might say some funny things sarcastically, but I don't know. For me, I'm not doing any voices.
None at Thanksgiving.
No, because they don't pay. Family doesn't pay. No. The look on your face of what? You make them pay?
But if people come over, or you go to dinner and it's you and your wife with another couple, do they think you're going to perform a little bit?
Some, if they don't know me, they think that's what it's going to be like, and I think sometimes they'll be worried about that it's going to be. Is this going to be a show?
Oh.
But then they're more worried that I'm that boring. No, because in real life, when we talk off the off camera and off. I'm a lot more cynical. I'm I would say edgier.
Backstabbing.
Backstabbing is a huge one.
It's tremendously large. I will stab you in the back, turn you around, and stab you again.
Yeah, but that's not me on stage. So that's something I want to get to. But right now, there's just too much, with the ESPN, with the corporate, with all that kind of stuff. It's how I make money, and I don't want to ruin it. And I have little kids, so I'm careful about that. As my kids are starting to get, to get more worldly, I think I'll let more go, because it's not about people are like, you don't swear in your act, you don't do this. I'm like, yeah, because I work for people. I worry about that.
Yeah. What about now? You said the behind the scenes with Trump when you first did the impersonation.
that was great. That was amazing. I don't know what he's like now, and I'm not speaking to any political side at all. See, there I'm hedging everything at that point too. I do constantly
off camera though. You're gonna be like,
I've got a sign in my lawn. So we're doing the sketch. We're in the middle of the sketch. Something goes wrong. It breaks. The camera stops or something like that. And he's like, I'm like, okay, here we go. And he's like,
Wait a second. I'm going to check on something. Is this pretty good? Does everybody think this is good? This seems funny to me. Does it seem funny to you?
and all around the room, yes, Mr. Trump, fantastic, Mr. Trump, great, Mr. Trump. I was like, wait. Does anybody ever say something isn't good? And he goes,
No, and that's part of the problem, Frank. I can't get real answers.
So he was in on the joke, and that made me like him a lot more at the time. I was like, oh my gosh, he gets it. And I thought that was pretty cool. Then afterwards, because he's telling me,
That's great. What you do is fantastic. It really is.
he used every adjective he could. So he goes, do you have a couple minutes? I'm like, sure. He takes me down in an elevator. The elevator stops in between floors. There's a guy with white gloves manning the elevator. I'm thinking, this is The Sopranos. I feel like Journey's going to start playing the elevator.
That was it. You're done. Okay.
So we get onto the elevator, and he takes me over to a kiosk, and we're in Trump Tower. He takes me to the ground floor kiosk and goes,
Do you like ties?
I'm like, sure. He starts giving me all these Trump ties. And he goes, do you like cufflinks? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, do you wear cufflinks? I'm like, not yet, but I'm going to start if you're handing them out. So he gives me a pair of cufflinks. Then he goes, are you married? I was like, yeah. He goes, do you like your wife? Which was a very telling question, right? Coming from somebody.
Because I have a harem over here that you can choose from.
So he then gives me this watch. And when he gives me the watch, he takes the price tag off of the watch and hands it to me. Diamond studded watch. And I don't know what to think. It's Donald Trump, right? But it's also the ground floor of Trump Tower. So I'm not sure if it's real or it's not. It's probably not real, but he sends me out into New York City with this diamond-studded watch. And I find out that it's costume jewelry, but I'm like, he's got the joke's on me, right? He got me. And I'm like, that's brilliant. You just played me completely, and I couldn't tell because you're Donald Trump. And it was so funny. As we're coming down an escalator, he's like,
do you see that Starbucks right there? That's the number one Starbucks in the entire country. And Howard Schultz called me, the CEO of Starbucks, and told me that's the number one. And you would think on the ground floor of Trump Tower, that would make sense. But on the second floor, that's incredible. That's the number one. And you have to go up this escalator, the number one escalator. And I said that to him. I goes, is everything number one with you? And he goes, Frank, if it wasn't, I wouldn't have any part of it.
Can you do Hillary?
I can't. I don't have a Hillary.
You don't do. Do you do women voices?
No, it's because it always comes out weird. I did a Rosie O'Donnell years ago, but that was kind of me just throwing a wig on at the time. It was because Trump was doing, it was back and forth. But Hillary has a thing where she just kind of yells anyways. I mean, you could find the essence of it.
Yeah.
Oprah's the same way. We got a new car. You find something that can work. And if Hillary's in, it's I am back and there are no more rules. It's going to be great. She'll be all over the place. I'll do whatever I want.
Okay, you could have Trump or you can have Bill Clinton.
Right.
Depending on who wins.
Yeah, I mean, there's something there.
You want Trump, though.
Well, my wife goes around telling people to vote for Trump or it's taking food out of our daughters. She really does do that. I'm like, can you let's not take any sides because people get mad about this kind of stuff. But yeah, she has no shame and will just tell people it's about our children. And I'm like, is that really true? We're doing all right.
Who are you working on right now?
Well, there's always people. I want to do a Lee Corso because I would love to go on College Game Day and just do something ridiculous because he doesn't make sense at all anymore. Even when he's trying to make sense, just to watch Herb Street and those guys try and figure out how to bring it back. With Desmond, they don't know what do we do here? I think he just said the F word again. And so that would be a lot of fun. Everybody wants me to do a Dick Vitale, but there's so many Dick Vitales. I always think when there's so many people doing, but the stuff that works at ESPN is really about ESPN. For some reason, I'm the guy that is allowed to make. I guess Van Pelt's allowed to make fun of ESPN a little. He does it more subtly than I do.
That's late night.
Yeah, but
management's in bed.
Yeah, right.
So
Isn't that what it is?
That's what we used to do on Sports Center.
People when I first started, like, you better be careful. That a lot of that does. I go, that's why they hired me, is to be this guy. You guys are considered journalists.
Anybody off limits?
No, there's nobody. They usually check with the person though. That's the totally different way of going about it than Fox. At Fox, they just let go, do whatever you want, make fun of everybody. At ESPN, they'll go and check, and nobody said no. I mean, Kenny Mayne is another one I've been working on, just because I think it would be just so fun to go do something that doesn't make sense. I'm Kenny Mayne, and this makes no sense at all. I'm standing here with an awkward lean, just to do that kind of, because the guys who are the history of ESPN, those guys have been around so long, they have those fun things. We did this fantasy draft thing, and I was on with Kenny I was standing on a box to be half his height, and just doing that, using my cerebral cortex, we'll find out what comes after this. He's just got that anytime. And
he makes you uncomfortable watching.
Awesome. And it's awesome because wherever he goes, the energy becomes his energy. You could be the most powerful, over-the-top comedic force. By the end, you're talking like this, trying to figure out when we're going to break. Sounds good to me. We'll be back. Like, what? How do you do that? How do you have that much silence and that much non sequitur that works? I'm in awe every time I hear it. So,
how was the ride over, by the way?
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah,
tremendous.
Everything good?
I learned a lot.
You did.
Different cultures.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what I could say.
Oh,
I'm scared.
Are you?
Yeah, a little scared.
There was issues?
I wouldn't call them issues, just character study. Like when you look at a place and go, we should bomb that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So the driver said that.
I don't know. Is that what you're hearing?
Maybe should we save this story for the next time Frank's in?
Yeah.
Because I need him to get out of here safely. Is that okay?
I'd rather that.
Because I don't know where you're going now.
I don't even know.
But
I feel like
you
it's
to get
straight
there.
down. I feel like it's straight down. Because I was laughing at some of the stuff, and it was terrible, terrible stuff.
Yes, Eaton. Next time around?
I think we save it. This one holds. The story holds.
Yeah, this is...
You came in a little...
Shaken?
Yes, you
Not
did.
stirred.
When I said, how you doing? Good, I think.
I worry about business. I always worry about business with people because I think I don't care. I don't really get offended. You could say whatever you want to me, but I think about other people in that same ride that may not have the same. To me, it's a story, and it's a great story that's going to be told next time. But it's it's just a great thing, and I want to figure out how I can even work it into my act.
Okay, but I need you to get back to where you're going. Do you need escorted out?
No, I think I'm okay with that.
Okay. So it's escorted in the car is maybe what you need.
I don't know what
Fritzy, can we get? Do we have another car for Frank?
We've got him taken care of.
Okay, I need Frank to get back to wherever he's going.
Yeah, it was like I said, I don't.
It's a story for another day.
I want the person to remain anonymous too because I don't want them to know where I live.
Yeah.
But when they say, "Yeah, I've been to jail a few times," I think we're making a left turn here. It's like when they'll talk about a product in baseball halfway through, bouncing ball down the third base line. Tune in, what? It was one of those kinds of things.
Did he know about this show, your driver?
No. Yeah, that was the joke when I walked in.
Oh, yeah.
I said, he goes, "Where are you going?" It was like the Dan Patrick Show. Dan effing who? The guy who's probably paying you to drive me here?
Yeah.
You should probably know.
He's Frank Caliendo. You can see him on Long Island and Atlantic City this weekend. You can find out all of his pit stops here on frankonstage.com.
Can I throw a couple other, because Oklahoma City's coming up. I know there's the Iowa run, Seattle, and Southern
Vegas.
California too. Las Vegas, big one too. Yeah. So the Orleans Hotel. Frankonstage.com is everything.
Always great to see you.
Yeah, let's see if I make it back.
Yeah, to tell that story again.
Yeah, I
I would
can't
love that.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.